Good morning, everyone, faculty and graduates. You may be seated. That's all we get. Let's hear it again for the class of 2026. Now, our students who received the associate's degree enjoyed, and families, a very serious graduation on Monday. And so I would like to start with a couple of housekeeping items and a couple of norms. This is our fun graduation, okay? So when we say let's hear it for the class of 2026, and if a faculty member chooses to say good morning, you would reply, good morning. There you go, very nice. Something for safety. When this graduation ends, we will not have a stampede. The faculty will exit first, followed by the graduates, and we ask families to remain seated at that point, after which you will exit, okay? We will all be very excited at that point. But again, good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the high school graduation for the BHSEC class of 2026. This is an exciting day for all of you, and today is about you. Every single one of the 121 graduates here, we are here for you. And before we celebrate you, we must acknowledge the many people who got you here today. So I want all the graduates to stand and turn around. Look for that family member in the crowd. Now graduates, turn around and face us, but remain standing. And let's do the same for these incredible teachers. Now listen. All that homework, all those tests, all the exams and the projects that you have done over the past 4 years, it's their fault. And you have received an incomparable experience in this school. You may be seated. There are many important staff members also who are not on this stage, without whom this event would be impossible. So our main office staff, Ms. Tavares, the absolutely incredible Carol Turritz, who you all know and have heard from. Our paraprofessionals, our team of school aides, and then we have this incredible army of Bard College employees who report to this building every single day. No lab would be set up without Yuri. Every time we need a projector connected or help with the computer, we've got Jose. Maintaining this brilliant student body would never happen with admissions and our amazing director, Sylvia Epstein. We would have no student activities, or frankly, this graduation without BHSEC-M. And Jasmine Coombs, who oversees Smart Scholars, but also our diversity, equity, and inclusion program. And in this building, we are unafraid of any external powers that might try to silence that incredible work. We know that diversity, equity, and inclusion is good for everyone. I'm incredibly proud of you. You have each taken a unique journey that is your own. You have all struggled in a way that is your own. One of the great things about this institution is we don't let it be easy for anyone, right? We make sure that you are challenged every single day in this building. And that was particularly evident to me a couple of weeks ago on Symposium Day, when all of the work that led to those inquiry projects was on display. And I applaud you for that. And I thank you for showing us, in this very unique, specific way, your brilliance. Finally, join me now, everyone, in celebrating these incredible 121 students that are in front of me. This group of students here will go to Ivy League schools, elite private colleges. Many will go to our great public system in the SUNY campuses, and I'm particularly proud of those who will go to my alma mater, our great CUNY system. You have incredible, bright futures ahead. We have a great program ahead with both awards, presentation of diplomas, and a lot of celebration. And I'll now turn it over to the good Dr. Bill Hendricks.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Dr. Pugh. It works much better when you set them up for the good morning. This is not the hottest graduation we've had. It is maybe the fullest, and it's nice to see such a great crowd out here. It looks like my dream of Dean's Hour. But today, the speakers are not Dean's Hour speakers. To begin this next segment, they're people who've served BHSEC for a really long time, 2 decades or more each, one of whom is a founding member of our faculty. The first person to speak this morning, who's retiring after many years of service, is Denise Camper. Please welcome.
And the first one is a gift that was given to me by 2 10th graders. And it says, inhale grace and exhale gratitude. So hold on, there's a method to my madness. I bought candles. All right, give me a minute, I gotta put glasses on. 25 years teaching here, I'm a little blind now. All right, but anyway. And wait. They're remote control. All right. So, before we begin, I'd like to start by asking everyone to please close your eyes and think about how you got here today. By that I mean your life journey, where it began, where you find yourself in this moment. Please close your eyes. I'm going to ask you right now to take a deep breath. And that's why I put this up. And on that breath, say to yourself, inhale grace. And on the out breath, say to yourself, exhale gratitude. The candles I light today represent the grace we have all brought into this room and the gratitude we feel for the journey that brought us here. So good morning and welcome. I would like to begin by acknowledging Dr. Pugh, Dr. Pugh. The members of the administrative team, my fellow teachers and support staff, parents, family members, friends, and most importantly, you, the graduates of the class of 2026. So, we have a chemistry lesson today. Oh no, don't do that, Ms. Campbell, please. It's an important one. It's a life lesson. It's called Life is a Series of State Functions. Do we have any chemists or engineers in the room? Okay? And so, I know you're all probably thinking, what in the world is a state function? So I'm about to start my reflection with a chemistry lesson. And I can already see your eyes rolling and you're thinking, what does this have to do with why I'm sitting here today? And honestly, that's a fair question. Now, if there are any chemists, physical chemists, physicists, or chemical engineers in the room, in the audience, you might already have an idea where I'm going with this. The rest of you, stick with me. By definition, a state function is a thermodynamic property of a system that depends only on its current state, not on the path taken to reach that state. In other words, it only cares about where you start and where you end. And if you've ever sat in one of my chemistry classes, this might sound familiar. Because just like chemical equations I would put on the board, we always started with the reactants, we always ended with the products. Nice, clean, simple. But what we didn't always stop and think about was everything happening in between. What was going on beneath the surface? The interaction between particles, the collisions, the invisible steps, the reaction mechanisms that made that transformation happen. All the messy, complicated, unseen parts that ultimately led to product formation. And if we're being honest, your journey at BHSEC works exactly the same way. Because when you arrived here in September of 2022, that was your starting point, your reactants. And today, you are the products. But what this equation, what this state function doesn't show is everything that happened in between. And that's where this gets interesting. Because those reaction mechanisms are the path you took to get here. And they were not all the same. Some of you took a very organized path. You had a plan. You followed the plan. You probably still know what your homework was, and even after you turned it in. Some of you took what I call the, well, let's figure it out path. You figured things out as you went. Assignment got done. Eventually, study plans were created, usually the night before, and somehow it all worked out. Some of you became experts in group projects, not necessarily academically, but socially. You learned who does all the work, who disappears until the due date, and who says, I'll do the presentation, which somehow means reading directly off the slides. Some of you pulled all-nighters fueled by caffeine, stress, and the belief it would all work out. And some of you told yourselves, I'm going to go to bed early tonight, and then looked at the clock, and it was 1:47 a.m., with absolutely no idea how you got there. But despite all those different paths, the organized ones, the chaotic ones, the we'll figure it out ones, you all arrived here. Same place, same moment, same accomplishment, graduating from BHSEC. And that's the point of a state function. It doesn't account for every wrong term, every late night, every moment of confusion. It recognizes you made it from where you started to where you are now. And now as you leave this chapter and begin the next part of your journey, you're stepping into a new kind of state function. One where the starting point is today and the ending point is still to be written. And unlike high school, there isn't going to be a clear path laid out in front of you, which is why reflection becomes so important. Because it's very easy to go through life on autopilot, just moving forward, checking boxes, meeting expectations, doing what comes next, without always stopping to ask why. And that's when these questions start to matter. Questions like, what is it that I give value to? What am I striving for? What do I really want? Who am I? How do I choose to spend my time? And maybe the biggest question of all is, what is this all for? Because when we don't ask them, we risk living a life that looks full, but doesn't feel meaningful. And over time, without even realizing it, you begin to feel like you are a stranger to yourself. When you do start asking those questions, you're probably not going to have all the answers right away. This is where grace comes in. Because no matter where you go next, you are all going to make mistakes. And that's part of it. And that's when I realized something important to myself. Not knowing is a state of grace. And whether it feels like it or not, you're exactly where you need to be in learning how to move forward. Because not knowing means you are still open, still learning, and still becoming. It's not a failure, it's a beginning. Grace is what allows you to live in that space without rushing to have everything figured out. without judging yourself for being in process. It's waking up and saying, I may not have gotten it right yesterday, but I get to try again today. And just as importantly, grace is something we extend to others, because everyone we meet is navigating their own uncertainty, their own unanswered questions, and their own invisible path. Little personal reflection here. Shortly after I turned 30, I had what I can only describe as an existential crisis. I thought I should have been fully self-actualized by then. Confident, clear, basically skipping down the yellow brick road of life. And instead I found myself asking all of those questions and realizing I didn't have neat, perfect answers, just like most of us don't. During that time in my life when I was asking more questions than I had answers, I met someone, a mentor, if you will. His name was Whiskey Mike. I'd like to tell you more about him, but that's for a different reflection. All right? This is where gratitude comes in. Whiskey Mike had a way of keeping things simple for me. He would say, kid, and I was a kid, I was 30, I'm now almost 69. But anyway, kid, every day when you wake up, and every night before you go to bed, say thank you to something greater than yourself. A power greater than yourself. And then he told me something I'd never forget. A grateful heart is not a hateful heart. A grateful heart doesn't look for ways to divide people. It doesn't hold on to anger or seek revenge. It doesn't live in resentment with a need for retaliation or retribution. A grateful heart sees the world not through what's missing, but through what's already here. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized gratitude doesn't change your path, but it changes how you walk it. It changes what you notice, what you hold on to, what you carry forward with you. It grounds you, even when everything else feels uncertain. And as I've been thinking about your state function, I've also been thinking about my own. Because life isn't just a single state function, it's a series of them. And somewhere along the way, my path led me here, to this place, to BHSEC, to this moment, to all of you. And just like we talked about earlier, the state function doesn't show the path. It doesn't show the work, the uncertainty, the growth, and the moments where you question yourself and keep going anyway. But I can tell you this, being your teacher has been the most memorable and impactful part of my path, and it has changed me for the better. Each of you, whether you realize it or not, has been part of my own journey. In the questions you've asked, in the conversations we've had, in the ways you've challenged me to think, to reflect, and to grow. Even the moments that I didn't feel significant at the time, they mattered. You've been a constant source of hope and inspiration for me every single day. Because just like those reaction mechanisms we talked about, so much of what shapes us happens beneath the surface, in small moments, in shared spaces, in relationships. And teaching you, learning from you, has been part of that unseen process for me. And for that, I am deeply grateful. Grateful to have walked this part of my path with you, grateful to have witnessed who you are becoming, grateful in some small way our paths crossed during this state of your lives and mine. And that's the thing about life as a series of state functions. We don't always realize in the moment how much we are shaping one another, but we are. And as we leave here today, I'd like to share a prayer with you, if you will give me that grace. When we more fully understand the grace we've received, we can turn outward in gratitude and generosity. Gratitude becomes our home in the presence of God, a power greater than ourselves, and an intimate participation in the divine life itself that reaches out far beyond our own self to God, to all creation, to the people who gave us life, love, and care. Thank you, my BHSEC scholars, for sharing your lives with me, bringing love, grace, and gratitude into our classroom, in my life. And I know you love this. I'm going to finish with this. What am I going to tell you? Finish well. All right? Finish well. Regardless of fatigue, finish well. In spite of opposition, finish well. Though tempted to quit, finish well. Complete what you started, finish well. You are on the home stretch, finish well. Do what you said you would do, finish well. Be a much-needed example for others to see, finish well. Remind yourselves of the reason you began here, finish well. Another level of fulfillment and your next assignment awaits you. May you finish well. On behalf of Dr. Q and the administrative team, my cherished colleagues and support staff, we offer this blessing for all of you and your family and friends. So please close your eyes, take a moment, breathe in grace, and exhale gratitude. Gotta do this for my Irish ancestors, you know it's coming. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of her hand. And if nobody told you they love you today, who does? I definitely do. Congratulations to the class of 20. One last thing. Remember to inhale grace and exhale gratitude. Thank you for the We love you, Ms.
Thank you, Ms. Gamper. When applying for a job at BHSEC, it is good to have a last name at the beginning of the alphabet. Aisha Idemir, Adrian Negredo, and Anna Azeglio. When you're a student here and you need advice from a guidance counselor, it's good to have a last name at the beginning of the alphabet, from A to K, because you worked with Anna Azeglio. And now, we will all get to hear from her. Please welcome her with applause.
Ms. Gamber and I have been retirement twins this year. And I didn't need glasses, reading glasses back in 2006. So here goes. Class of 2026. It has been one of the greatest privileges of my career to serve as a guidance counselor and college advisor at BHSEC Manhattan. I have had the opportunity to witness your growth, celebrate your accomplishments, support you through challenges, and watch you develop into thoughtful, resilient, and compassionate young adults. You continue to impress me with your determination, intellect, creativity, and kindness. As you move forward to college, careers, service opportunities, and new adventures, I hope you carry with you the confidence to pursue your dreams, the courage to embrace challenges, and the wisdom to remain true to yourselves. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your journey, the memories we've shared, the conversations we've had in room 526, and the milestones we've celebrated together will remain with me always. You made this school year incredibly special, and for that, I'm deeply grateful. Congratulations, class of 2026. I'm so proud of you, and I cannot wait to see all of your accomplishments. Thank you.
Good? Yeah. We're going to have a lot of back and forth with the mic, so I'll just use this one to simplify things a bit. Parents, you're not supposed to have favorite children. Faculty, you're not supposed to have favorite classes. We do, and today, for sure, is you. And with good reason. I've been been here almost 2 decades, and it is fair to say you are one of the most, if not the most impressive group of students I've worked with. Speaking of favorites, now on to my favorite part of the ceremony, the awards. Today's awards were voted on by our faculty, in departments and as a whole, in lengthy, often heated discussions, as you can imagine. And this year it was particularly challenging. You are too accomplished as a group. There are too many of you and you've done too much. And you haven't stayed here long enough, in my view. I wish we had more time with you. But we had to make choices, and we did. And the first choice is our award for excellence in music, which will be presented by Professor Matt Zimbelman.
Good morning, everybody. This is also, I agree with Dr. Hendricks, this is super fun for me. It's just such a treat to sit up here and look at look at all these wonderful faces. Just to take a moment and just be with that, it's really fun. So this was a tough choice. There's a lot of great potential recipients this year. There was a great cohort, and it was not an easy decision. This was a gang of people who kind of clung together in music and did a lot of things on their own, took their own initiative a lot, and kind of built their own little culture, and I thought that was really cool, and I really appreciated that. I enjoyed just being there. A lot of times people would come in on lunch hours and stuff and just play and sing, and it was just kind of it was a treat for me. It was just a nice way to spend time, and just to see them doing it on their own was awesome. So not an easy choice. This person, though, the recipient, I think there's something about their relationship to music. It's almost like some kind of a close friendship, and that was always kind of almost even enviable to see. It was a really nice thing to see. This person sort of brings you in to the music rather than kind of projecting it out at you. And I don't know if you ever feel that difference or understand what that feels like, but that's what it was. For me, somebody who works at it, definitely worked at it hard, but made it seem like very sort of natural and effortless, and you could feel sort of that the music came from all the way, like way down inside this person, but also you kind of got the sense that like it came from where music itself comes from, like this person was almost sort of right at the wellspring, so that was also really a nice thing. So there's lots of great candidates, but the sort of difference with this particular person was that they were able to kind of muster their comrades, muster their collaborators, and sort of get down to business when there was a task to be done, when there was something they wanted to accomplish, and able to sort of put distractions aside in a way that was gracious and not overbearing. So for all of these reasons and many more, I am very pleased to present the Music Award to Mia Benari.
A quick note, most of these awards will ask you to come forward to receive the award and get a picture taken. A couple will just have you stand, especially for the ones that are going to a group. But the next is going to be a Come Forward award, and that will be for art presented by Professor Krause.
All right, you guys. So, wow, I am so excited for this class. From my first college advisory, to a gazillion used paintbrushes, art club, and last minute promposals. There was a lot. The studio in 201 was alive because of all of your creative endeavors. So today, I wanted to recognize a student whose creativity reached beyond BHSEC during her 4 years, 2 that I've known her. This student has invested time in and outside of the classroom, creating the foundation to her unique art practice. It intersects with her interests in craft, storytelling, and critical inquiry. She has been a dedicated art club leader and mentor to younger classmen, an active voice of arts and journalism in her community and online, while dedicating time to her own craft. I myself am a collector of one of her unique pieces, a very special blue knit hat that's now one of my favorite fall wearables. I am so excited. Well, first of all, I will say she's always very helpful as well in the studio, asking if I need help at any point in time during the week. But I'm so excited to present this award to Zoe George. Just one last thing. It's the Visual Art Award, obviously, but I'm so excited to see how you use your creative endeavors and all of your future academic achievements. Okay.
To present the Physical Education Award, please welcome Professor Fernberg.
Good morning and congratulations, class of 2026. The Physical Education Department and the Athletic Program collaborate on this award, so I'm here to speak as the cross-country and track and field coach to present the award. This student, if y'all wore leather jackets, this student might need 2 or 3. She holds down the defense for the soccer team. She was voted the MVP of the girls basketball team, and she is the Manhattan Shot Put champion 3 years running. This year, she went beyond shot put and got the double in discus as well, and she finished her illustrious career throwing 4th place, 36 feet in New York City for shot put. She threw farther and farther every year, which I really admire about her and her character. She kept working to get better even though she was winning from the start. And beyond winning, I think it's important to talk about her character. She is a tremendous cultural asset to her team. She's an exemplary leader and a great teammate. In the track and field side, she's a coach on the field. She taught maybe 12 kids how to throw. She would give pointers in between reps. And if we needed somebody to fill in on a relay, she would always volunteer. Our team will miss her very dearly, but she set a great example as a mentor, teammate, and friend. The quality that I admire the most about her truly is that she is a fierce competitor, but she also approaches every other aspect of the sport with joy. She takes the serious part serious, but she reminds us that it's supposed to be fun. I know that if she keeps that energy and that balance in her life, she will walk down many successful roads. I'm excited to see what they are, I should say. The 2026 Athletic Award is Lisa up in back.
Professor Wallace will now present the Latin Award.
Salvete omnes, hello everyone. I'm Professor Wallace and I'm honored to present the Latin Award. The cohort of Latin students at BHSEC is a small but mighty group, making it a challenge to highlight only one student, especially among those who continued independent studies into their final years. But the student receiving the award did something each year I've taught them that really stood out. In 10th grade, it was asking for extra reading, trying to read out Virgil and Ovid while simultaneously still learning the fundamentals of the language. Last year I was asking to write in Latin for the final paper/project. Normally when a student asks, should this be written in Latin, this is accompanied by a low level of panic. But this student particularly sought out that challenge. And finally, this year, this student wasn't sure if they'd have time for the independent study, so asked to just pop in when they were free. But of course, this student showed up each time prepared for every session. And if that wasn't enough, this student took on the additional challenge of being my first Latin TA, helping the 9th grade class with their own introduction to the language. For the students' hard work, their clear passion for the material, and their bright and curious mind, I'm honored to award the Latin Award this year to Marty Wong.
Sometimes there are just too many students to honor, and we decide to give 2 prizes, which is what we're going to do with Spanish. Professors Curran and Guerra will come forward to offer the Spanish prizes.
Professor Guerra is going to join me after. This award acknowledges significant linguistic proficiency through study in our language program. These students entered BHSEC with little to no knowledge of Spanish and worked to achieve a significant level of conversational Spanish by the end of year 2. Learning a language changes you. The second language exists in an adjacent neural network, growing into a new identity that has a unique personality, communication style, and sense of humor that seeks out connections with others who share that language. In this way, choosing to become bilingual is a humanitarian pursuit. As a citizen of the world, you are a linguistic immigrant, transgressing language communities. What was once foreign is now familiar. What was different and external is now a part of who you are. In 10th grade, I knew that George Crawford would be a contender for this award when he started running his own Crawford course during my class. Most students get into trouble for off-topic conversations in English, not George. He got into trouble for very on-topic conversations in Spanish by explaining grammar concepts to his peers during my instruction. Since then, George continued to cultivate his passion for Spanish into a study abroad opportunity in Spain, Spanish elective coursework, as well as independent studies reading, interpreting, and discussing short stories in Spanish. But most interestingly, this semester, I witnessed George embody the persona of Bernarda Alba, a 65-year-old domineering Spanish matriarch in one of Federico Garcia Lorca's plays. So it is my honor and privilege to present the Spanish Language Award to George Crawford.
Muy bien, George.
Hola, buenos días todos. The next student, this student's goal was not simply to speak in Spanish, but rather to think in Spanish. And that's a more complex level of intellectual curiosity. She wanted to see life through someone else's eyes. In my life as an instructor, I'm often alone in my experience. Yet with this student, I felt a type of kinship, because she was not just interested in the verb and subject agreement or the subtleties of the subjunctive. She was interested in concepts of sorrow that emerged from the clash of the European arrival to the Americas. She was interested in Mayan cosmology and the role of acceptance of victory and defeat according to cyclical time. She was interested in the Mother Goddess, the Virgin of Guadalupe, Santa Muerte. And in the midst of this, she managed to read 16th and 17th century manuscripts, because it was more than the language. The language was a window into another reality, into another perspective. We need people like this student who are genuinely interested in the realities, joys, and sorrows of others. and whose intellect is a tool for empathy, vision, and service. It has been a pleasure sitting down to these discussions with this remarkable student, and I smile when I think of the person we are sending out there into the world. It's my pleasure to present this award to Oren Milburn.
I'd like to announce a prize that's not in the program. The class of 2026, your academic accomplishments are extraordinary in the aggregate and individually. So extraordinary that your teachers repeatedly and almost irritatingly demanded to give you A+. We don't have A+ at BHSEC. The highest grade you can get is a 95, and many of you met that threshold repeatedly. Some of you pitched the equivalent of a perfect game for 8 semesters, 9 innings, with GPAs of 94.5 out of 95 for your entire 8 semesters here. This is an extraordinary feat. I can't have this group come forward, but I would like you to rise as I say your names. Willow Botine, Emmy DeClercq, Serene Mani, Anna Kagan, Gabrielle Madron Chow, Oren Milgram Dorfman, Ivy Morris, Mia Arnon, George Crawford, Anna Dawes, Mateo Edis's Party, Aisha Janat, Martina Kuzma, Farah Levy Mazy, Gabriela Ronquillo, Zoe Shin, Zafna Niza, Samantha Wong, Sydney Wilson, and Marty Wong. Congratulations. You can sit down. Thank you. Okay. Another group not to come forward but just to stand are students who earned the Latin American Studies certificate. All these students took 3, sometimes 4, sometimes 5 courses in Latin American Studies courses, taught in English and taught in Spanish, ranging from courses on board case, to Latin America at the movies, to music and social change, to gender and sexuality in Latin America. Please rise as I read your names. Alanis Gomez, Austin Velasquez, Sydney Wilson, Oren Milgram Dorfman, Gabriela Ronquillo, Zephyr Sosa, Anita Clark, and Oliver Henry. Congratulations. We also have one student who earned not only a Latin American Studies certificate, but also an Africana Studies certificate. She took multiple classes with Professor Imbola, including radical reading and literature of the African slave trade. She also engaged in research which led to a brilliant and engaging Dean's Hour that almost all of us attended, and that is Gabriela Ronquillo. All right, we're now going to get back to the prizes where you actually come forward, get a certificate, and have your picture taken, starting with social studies presented by Dr. Turoff.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to try to not get emotional because I'm truly in love with this class. I mean, that was incredible just now. Okay, congratulations, everyone. I'm not going to bury the lead. I'm honored to present this award to Gabriela Ronquillo. I taught Gabriela for the first time this semester, aside from writing and thinking, where she was also brilliant, and I immediately realized what I had been missing. She is a powerhouse. Whether leading class, TAing a course, chairing a Bardvark meeting, delivering a Dean's Hour, she's fierce. Gabriela is one of those students whom you hesitate to call on at the beginning of a discussion, only because you know she will succinctly dissect an argument before some of the students have even taken out their packets. Nor is this assessment mine alone. Dr. Mazie noted, the Bardbark blossomed under Gabriella's leadership. That girl has everything under control. Never showy, Gabriella quietly puts thorough, thoughtful effort and creative energy into all her endeavors. Dr. Mbola wrote, she is intellectually voracious, academically disciplined, and possesses a maturity well beyond her years. And Professor Rayo wrote, Gabriella's work as a student equity leader sought to authentically honor the diverse cultures of our BHSEC community and to magnify the voices of those who may feel ignored. Most pertinent to this history award, or social studies, Gabriella is a gifted historian. I was so impressed by her Dean's Hour on the end of the slave trade in what is today Cameroon that I asked her to present it to my global students, and I promptly recorded it to show future classes. She asked nuanced questions about agency and complicity, traced complex socioeconomic changes, and remained deftly attuned to problematic sources and questions of historical erasure. Her Dean's Hour raised so many questions we ask our 10th graders to think about that even if I scoured the historical profession around the world, I do not think I could have found a more professional and appropriate example, a real live example, for our students to emulate and follow. Her work in my elective on the history of museums further demonstrated a deep love for the discipline. She is remarkably attentive to questions of social class, something that I struggled to even reckon with until grad school. And Gabriella is consistently attuned to this question, whether in a paper for our elective where she argued that the politicization of art led to a conservative bourgeois middle class, or in her Dean's Hour, where she traced the emergence of the comprador trading bourgeoisie. She repeatedly demonstrates a sophisticated understanding of class as a historical force. Given these strengths, it is no surprise that next year she will major in history and English at Harvard. Gabriella, you are one of the most curious and hardworking people I have ever met. Congratulations, I cannot wait to see you.
Professor Reich will now present the Mathematics Award.
Hello, class of 2026. You were wearing the shoes.
I'm wearing them.
That's why I have to fix the mic. It gives me great pleasure to give this award. I guess I showed up at the meeting where we were discussing who to give this award to, and I knew who I wanted to give it to. But I'm always very careful not to have my opinion override that of the math department, and I was so happy that everybody agreed this person should get this award. They have taken almost every class that our department offers. I have known this person since they were in 9th grade. They're a fantastic mathematics student. They also have been a Claude tutor. They have, done service to mathematics and to some of you. They're also one of the most sincerely intellectual students I've ever taught. This person, we used to come to Dean's Hour starting with that 9th grade class. And this person really appreciated hearing those perspectives, and it began a tradition. I now bring all of my 9th graders to Dean's Hour because this person appreciated it so much. I believe they are going to study computer science. I also think they're taking a gap year. I'm very glad that this person is going to be part of the community that shapes the world's embrace of AI and computing, because they have such a strong moral compass, and they are so smart and so kind. I give this award to Mia Arnon.
Professor Holbrook will present the Literature Award.
The Literature Award goes to a student who combines critical insight and generosity. He is interested in how cultural forms manipulate or blunt the audience's political will. In a paper he wrote for me last year, he discusses the misogyny in Medea not just as a force the play's protagonist contends with, but as the play's insidious point. In his inquiry project, he examines how several films diminish or demonize the Black radical tradition. There are many movies that highlight, he writes in his conclusion, but not a lot that expose. It's tempting to compartmentalize academic work, but for him, that work is on the same continuum as all lived experience. And as Professor Kelly observed to me, quote, he embodies the ethics of scholarship in a way that magnifies its potential for everyone in the room. In seminar, he's candid, open, and authentic. He does easily what teachers are always trying to do, make the stuff we talk about seem important and relevant. He wants other people to feel seen. When I asked students last year to define justice, he wrote, I believe we should act as we want others to act toward us, but also that we should attempt to maximize the amount of justice that others feel. Justice isn't just abstract reciprocity, it's supposed to be felt. On Monday, the first thing he did after receiving his diploma was to turn to the teachers sitting on stage and thank us. That gratitude shows itself in another piece from last year, and he probably never imagined that I'd be reading from his sonnet that he wrote. Shakespeare's sonnets usually center some kind of desire. The speaker wants the beloved to do or to give them something. When students write sonnets, they usually write one centering that kind of desire too. That's not the sonnet he wrote. His first line was, how shall I repay you for your divine light? Now I say in response, how can we repay you for yours, Sydney Wilson? Thank you, congratulations.
For science, we have 2 awards this year, one in physical science and one in life science. To present the Life Science Award, Professor Weinberg.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. As Dean Hendricks was talking about, we have split these awards this year. And it goes back to what he was talking about at the beginning of this ceremony, in that we had so many qualified students this year that we needed to sort of make some differentiation. We had, in particular, I'd say, a bumper crop of really extraordinary science students this year. But, we had to make some choices, and it came down to a few, and I have the honor of presenting the Life Sciences Award. This student that has earned the Life Sciences Award, it's interesting because I never actually had them as a student in one of my regular classes. But when the time came to discuss who might be eligible for this award, it was a pretty obvious candidate. Winding down year 1 and entering year 2, there was a lot of discussion of what courses to take, and the topic of double science was discussed broadly among the students that I talked to in sort of reverential and, in some cases, fearful tones. This student routinely took double science, and I want to just point out what sort of an accomplishment that is, because in year 2 at BHSEC, you are facing a number of challenges. You have your college applications, you have your full course load. It's not really like the senior year at an undergraduate institution where you're kind of just winding things up. And that workload is kind of emblematic of this student, who I would say in general, can be described as overcommitted, usually involved in a number of things at any given time. This student was a member of the debate team, a claw tutor, always seemed to be involved with a new musical project that I was hearing about for the first time, and as well as, leading the coding club, doing all sorts of activities at all times, and meeting every challenge with good humor and a strong work ethic. My first experience with this student was basically picking a fight with him about his definition of the nature of consciousness and the definition of what it means to be alive, which we never really had a chance to settle. So I may have to pick that up with him over the summer. At the end of year one, the student approached me expressing an interest in computational biology, which he did not have very much of a background in at that point. And so I made some recommendations about what to study and what sort of libraries to learn about, what algorithms to look into. And he took a few weeks and pretty much picked them all up in preparation for a summer internship at University College London. That 2-week project at University College London turned into a year-long independent study that involved him combing through the genomes and proteomes of over 1,000 strains of yeast. He presented on this topic here as part of the inaugural year of our research club at BHSEC. He participated in poster presentations and overall contributed very significantly to the culture of science here on the BHSEC campus. As a community, it's fair to say that we all now know a lot more than we ever thought we would, or perhaps even wanted to, about the protein clathrin. And with that being said, it's my honor and privilege to present this award, the Life Science Award, to George Crawford.
Professor So will now present the Physical Science Award.
Hello. I just want to emphasize what's already been said by so many of my colleagues before, that this truly is a remarkable class. We're not just saying that. I'm thinking specifically of the 7 of you who spent an hour every day after school as 10th graders, because you were too eager to start tutoring before the official CLAW program would allow you to. So we really mean it. Y'all are all tremendous students, and this was a very difficult award to choose, but we had to choose. I had the pleasure of teaching this student in 9th grade physics in the fall of 2022, when it was also my first year starting here at BHSEC. I had just started here after working for 8 years at the Bronx High School of Science. And while I was very excited to start here, I also naturally was very nervous as well. At my old school, I knew exactly who I'd be working with. Smart, driven students who wanted to learn. But who are my new students at this new school? Are they curious? Are they motivated? Or as my friends outside of education ask me always, are the kids okay? From my very first day of school, upon meeting this student, all of my fears were pacified. She not only had a burning intellectual curiosity about what we were learning about the natural world, but she also showed time and time again that she possessed the intellectual aptitude to keep asking questions that stretched beyond the material that we were covering in class. It came as no surprise to me then that I saw this student in front of me yet again during her last year at BHSEC, not only in a very rigorous physics with calculus class, in which she excelled, but 2 separate independent studies. multivariable calculus in the fall, and a modern physics survey in the spring. In between these classes, which bookended her time here, she, along with the many others I mentioned, also served as a peer tutor for my 9th grade students during their 10th grade year. Her love for the physical sciences was even then apparent to the two students she was tutoring. They would tell me that she was so patient, kind, and that she knew just the right way to explain the most difficult problems. Are the kids okay? When I think of Oren Milgram Dorfman, my confidence in the next generation can only swell. They're more than okay. What more could I ask for from a student? You possess not only the initiative to begin your own intellectual pursuits of knowledge, but in addition, you have the rare finishative, the ability to follow through on these pursuits and projects to their fruitful completion. Congratulations.
Professor Weber will present the Judith Heumann Award for Excellence on behalf of the Academic Resource Center.
Good morning, everyone. What an amazing class, each and every one of you. This year's recipient has gone far and above in contributing to our school's community in innumerable ways. From their dedication in their academic growth to their consistent advocacy and thoughtful leadership, this student has made a profound impact on peers and faculty alike. In addition to these many contributions, the recent inquiry project stands out as a shining example to thoughtful, high-quality work. In an era where we can outsource our thinking to digital tools, it is so beautiful to see someone working through deep thinking and thought and creativity and writing on their own. It's so refreshing to see what potential this person has in terms of self-advancement and brilliance. This year, the Judith Heumann Award of Excellence goes to Sully Rosales, whose leadership, integrity, and dedication has left a lasting impact on our community. Congratulations, Sully.
All right, this is another improvised award. You may wonder why there are 3 faculty members sitting in the audience. It happens that Bard is great at improvising in the moment. We were 3 seats short on stage, so thank you Professor Campbell, Professor Brooks, and Professor Noy for joining the students in the audience, and Professor Fu. Speaking of honoring the great work of our students, we're going to move on to honoring those who have been involved in the Center of Learning and Writing. Professor Shields will present the award.
Good morning, everyone. The Center for Learning and Writing is a peer tutoring program that supports students across all academic subjects at Bard. Could you raise your hand if you served as a CLAW tutor? Thank you for your service. Your impact supporting your peers towards success in this rich and rigorous place to think has more of an impact than you know. The following 10 students are being honored for their successful completion of the requirements related to the CLAW certificate, which includes serving as a peer tutor across both year 1 and year 2, and completing a pedagogy practicum course focused on theories behind how people learn. So if you hear your name, you could just stand, please. Zoe Weinreich, Sadia Islam, Ania Clark, Gabriela Rompio, Mateo Edison Cardi, Maud Stevens, Zola Stevens, Fatima Surubi, Marty Wong, and Mia Arnam.
One of these days, there's going to be a Jasmine Coombs Award. I hope that's long in the future when she retires. For now, though, she's going to present 3 awards back to back. Please welcome Jasmine Coombs to the stage.
Thank you. I feel like I just graduated. Oh my goodness. Okay, I have my speech on my phone, so if I look down, don't worry. So good morning, everyone. Hi, grads. Hi, families. Congratulations to the class of 2026. I'm Jasmine, I'm the Smart Scholars Program Director, and for those who don't know what that is, it's our opportunity program on campus that works to support some of the most qualified and deserving early college students in New York City who come from backgrounds that have been underrepresented within higher education. And in the audience right now, I have 56 of you guys, so I want to give you guys a very special shout out. That's almost half the class, so I'm very proud of you guys. I'm really proud of your accomplishments, and I couldn't be more honored to have been part of your journey. Most of you since the summer before you even started BARD, when you were fresh out of 8th grade. So I'll save my my special talks to you guys when we're outside. If I could, I would shout each and every one of you guys out, but I think if I did, Dean Hendricks might ban me from future graduations, so I won't do that. But I am gonna give 3 of you guys awards today. And hold on a second. Okay, so the first award is called, the Smart Scholars Leadership and Academic Excellence Award. And this award goes to a scholar who I've known since the summer before starting BARD, fresh out of her 8th grade. And from just those 3 weeks that I spent with her, I knew that she was the perfect BARD student. She joined our community ready for rigor and challenge, putting her all into everything academic, but doing it so humbly and moving so quietly that she almost kind of falls through the cracks. This is why I want to give her this award. Her favorite place to hang out on campus is the library, whether collaborating with her peers or working individually on an essay or a lab report, or whatever the case may be. This year alone, she established her own independent study and gave not 1, but 2 symposium day presentations. She's known on campus to be a STEM lover, but also a giver to her community. She dedicated her time to being a STEM tutor in CLAW. She's been a Big SIB, mentoring younger smart scholars in the Big SIBs program for the past 2 years. She served as a lab tech, and then fervently seeking out as many summer opportunities as she can with me in my office, working on applications, asking for letter of recs, etc. And doing that not just for resume bulking purposes, really doing that because she wants to get her feet wet and she has true passion for the things that she's pursuing. She is, in my opinion, the definition of excellence here at BARD, and I'm going to miss her so much. I'm really honored to present this award to Kayatu Haidara. One more thing about Kayatu: in the fall, she'll be studying at Smith as a Westwood Scholar. Okay, my next award is called the Smart Scholars Growth Mindset Award. And this award goes to one of the most reflective young scholars I've ever had the privilege of working with. But not really just as a passive reflector, someone who really reflects and puts actions to those reflections by taking everything that life throws at her on a daily basis, processing it, doing something about it, and throwing it right back to the earth. She's always been a lock and clean, as you guys like to say to me in my office. But what makes her especially remarkable is her selflessness and her willingness to welcome other ideas, others' conflicts, while dealing with her own personal issues and conflicts, being able to share the space with her peers and also take the space for herself. This award ceremony would feel super incomplete without honoring her dedication to her own personal growth and to the growth of those around her. And might I add, she is such a joy to work with, pun intended. This award goes to Joy Street Biswas. Thank you. One more thing about Joy Street. In the fall, she'll be studying at Binghamton University, I think studying psych. Okay, one more. Can you guys bear with me? One more? Okay, perfect. Okay, so this award is not a Smart Scholars Award. It's called the Triple C Award, and it's given by the Office of New York State Attorney General, Letitia James' office. Let me get to my notes. Okay, so from an early on, this student has embodied the title of this award. The Triple C stands for character, courage, and commitment. But she also learned about a fourth C, community. Her special community here, myself, Stacy Millman, Carol Turritz, Beth Chaikes, and Dr. Jess, are so proud of you. Your community here at Bard loves you so much and is proud of your perseverance through the last 4 years. And cheers to for the last 4 years, and has loved working with you. Cheers to you, and to my most constant reminder to you that you've overcome way more hard days than you have left. This award goes to Micaiah Lemon. In the fall, Micaiah will be attending University at Buffalo studying public health. Okay, my last message, I know it's been a while, I'm sorry. My last message to the class of 2026, when you go to college and your life beyond college, I beg you to occupy as much space as possible and use what you've learned here at Bard and take it and run with it. Your voice matters, what you occupy in this world matters. We need you so desperately. You are a future, you are a blueprint, and have fun.
Speaking of fun, we would not have much fun here without Misha Amy, who handles all of our student activities and also a lot of our community service. And today she's going to present the Community Service Award.
Hello, everybody. All right. From the moment I started at BHSEC this fall, these two have always showed up. Through Student Union, Yearbook, Year 2 Committee, SLT, and the Equity Committee, they are constantly in rooms where decisions are made, advocating for their classmates and BHSEC without hesitation. What truly sets them apart is that their commitment did not stop at BHSEC's doors. One took it upon themselves to found the BHSEC Key Club and bring their energy out into the city, giving back, connecting, and embodying everything this award stands for. Community isn't just a word, it's showing up consistently in every space you're giving, and that creates new ones. These two students have done exactly that, and it's been an honor to witness. Please join me in celebrating this year's Community Service Award recipients, Samantha Wang and Zoe Shen. Zoe also received the Civic Ambassador Award, also from the state of New York.
Okay, I can now introduce myself to present an award. I'm Bill Hendricks. So 9th grade begins with writing and thinking. Year 2 ends with a semester-long inquiry project. In short, student writing traces the arc of the entire BHSEC experience. The Don Shea Prize recognizes outstanding writing at BHSEC by honoring 2 graduating students for their sophomore seminar inquiry projects, the culminating project and the capstone course at BHSEC. A quick word about the selection process. Inquiry project papers are nominated by sophomore seminar inquiry teachers, logically. They're then read carefully and quickly by faculty members and staff. Thank you, Dr. Pugh, Ms. Coombs, Professors Agredo, Curran, Nolan, Turoff, and Shields for their work in reading over 300 pages of beautiful, dense, difficult, and delightful prose. I also have an editorial comment about the process. For 7 semesters, I think it's been said more than once, you've been the strongest class I've known at BHSEC. In the 8th, it seemed like you rested. A little on your laurels, a lot in the hallways, and sometimes dozily in class. You were not resting, you were writing these incomparable inquiry projects. This is the best, and definitely the longest batch of the 250 or so projects I have read in the last 13 years, which meant we had a lot of really fun work cut out for ourselves. Nominated papers this year explored such topics as identity and exile, whether as an Algerian American, Muslim, or Latin American Jew. They explored genealogies of the heart in full Foucauldian flower. I knew there'd be Foucault. They wrote about modern media portrayals of witches, transgression in contemporary art, addiction, the tension between children's and parents' rights with regard to gender, and many, many more interesting topics. The 2 winning papers for 2026 were deeply personal, marvelously written, and impressively researched. They are Hard to Be Whole, Recovering the Self Through Leslie Feinberg's Stonebush Blues, and Pet Boar Cow, The Politics of Food and Hunger in Bengal and Bangladesh. The winners then of the 2026 Don Shea Prizes are Marty Wong, Advisor Chung Cho, and Sadia Islam, Advisor Lauren. Please come forward, let's get a picture and have your prizes. The year is coming to the end, this ceremony is coming to an end, the prize portion of it is coming to an end. We have another award though. Professor Mbola will present the Faculty Award.
For the last time, good morning, scholars.
Good morning.
Each of you has done a hard thing. You have done something that most kids your age cannot do. You are deserving of our love because we are your teachers, but today you have earned our respect. I'd like to thank Dean Hinrichs for the honor of presenting today's Faculty Award. All of the teachers on this stage are well equipped to present it, and I consider it a high privilege to stand here before you. Upon the recommendation of the faculty, the student receiving this award today is being recognized for having fulfilled the mission of Bard High School Early College by demonstrating exceptional motivation and having met the rigorous intellectual challenges of the early college with enthusiasm and good spirit. This year's winner has distinguished herself from the very beginning of her academic career here at BHSEC Manhattan by virtue of her intellect, the quality of her curiosity, and the way she has consistently used learning to forge genuine human connection. Over the course of 4 years, she has grown from a freshman who asked to read her professor's doctoral dissertation and came back with thoughtful, probing questions, into a senior who challenged her professor's frameworks in real time, generating meaningful dialogue amongst her peers. This student's intellectual range is remarkable, and her academic record tells the story of a scholar who has brought the same fearless curiosity to every discipline she has encountered. She has earned A's across the full spectrum of her coursework here at BHSEC, from world literature and global studies to calculus and college math seminar, chemistry and physics, maintaining a cumulative average of 95.52% without exception. In courses focused on the African diaspora, she moved from the study of civil conflict in West and Central Africa to an examination of Atlantic and indigenous slave trades on the African continent, to the history of Cameroon's Isubu people and the Bimbia slave port, the latter being research she pursued independently through a summer research practicum, sourcing her own materials and cultivating professional relationships with scholars in the field. She engaged the legal dimensions of American life in criminal law through literature, and carried her analytical sensibilities into courses on gang warfare in Latin America, topics in Latin American cinema, government and economics, and the history of photography, all subjects which, taken together, reveal a student who is seeking to do so much more than merely fulfill requirements, and who instead is actively working to develop an interdisciplinary mind. Titled The Ground You Stand On, Understanding the Impact of Neoliberalism on Green Space in the Bronx, this student's inquiry project argued that the Bronx's paradox of abundant green space, alongside chronic health and social inequity, is the product of neoliberal urban policies, and that the path forward involves turning green space into community-controlled capital, anchored by anti-displacement subsidies, equitable redistribution of industrial infrastructure, and planning processes that honestly reckon with the borough's history of racial exclusion. We, the faculty, agree that this student elevates the intellectual atmosphere of every room she enters, a fact confirmed by her having already made one trip onto this stage and having had her name called more than 3 times, if my memory serves me. And finally, as you've already heard, having been accepted to study for a degree in history and literature at Harvard. If the phrase "I did not come here to play" was a person, that person would be this student. She is precisely the kind of scholar this award was created to recognize, motivated not by performance, but by a genuine love of ideas, and possessed of the humility, the open-mindedness, the resilience, the intellectual prowess, and a deep capacity for human connection that will allow her to contribute meaningfully to the world well beyond these walls. Esteemed graduates of the class of 2026, distinguished guests, please join my colleagues and I in congratulating the winner of this year's Bard High School Early College Manhattan Faculty Award. You already know who she is, Gabriela Ronquillo.
That concludes our prize awards, and we're now moving on to what all of us are excited about, which is the presentation of diplomas and Dr. Q's speech. Last year there was a Kendrick Lamar reference. I don't know what's going to happen this year, but it's going to be interesting.
Names to be read by the good Dr. Wend Kuniel.
Good morning, everyone. Congratulations, graduates. We have rehearsed, I have practiced, I'm ready. Nurai Ahmad. Farheen Alam. Lailatul Aldria. Nia Sarah Arnan. Lina C. Badar. Mia Benari. Nicholas Bertoni. Lizelle Achapama Akwa Pimpek. Annabelle Stowe Bishop. Joyshri Biswas. Maya Blas. Caitlin Lillian Barkhan. Sabine Bamzi. Ray Vincent Young Borsevich. Willa Botin. Christopher Bernal. Ray Cantwell. Vienna Chen. Nuha Chaudhary. Anisha Chaudhary. Ania Clark. Aja Jador Clark. George Capstein Crawford. Miguel Rogelio David. Hannah Driver Dog. Kartik Dandia. Emmy Ann de Clerical. Suri Dieudonné. Sulimar Dominic Rivalo. Solange Marie Dunning. Matteo Edeses Harvey. Mason Esther. Brandon Michael Esguera. Agassan Samuel Torui. Daniel Fernandez. Milo Frank. Winston Frankfurt. Ashton French. Tilly Rose Ganansaya. Zoe Leilani Pamela George. Jordan Page Gibson. Emma D. Giersdorf. Alanis Gomez Perez. Sienna Gordon. Henry Holland Gray. Andres Grayson. Hayatu Aidara. Amitis Hajadari. Serene Kaltumhani. Sayed Arak Hassan. Ezra Henderson. Oliver Franklin Henry. Eden Hill. Lucian Huang. Sadia Islam. Dia Jahan. Rayan Jalal. Aisha Janat. Isaac Jabara. Samara Jean-Gilles. Melanie Johnson Shine. Anna Kagan. Liam Kirten. Quadir Isaiah Kennedy. Muhammad Khan. Martina Kuzma. Ivy Ledlow Morris. I Clapidus. Sylvie Lee. Makaya Molina Lemon. Bara Lilvi Maisie. Absalom Seamus O'Haley Lindbeck. King Mac. Gabriel Madron Chow. Marlo Markowitz. Ania Matul. Eleanor McConville. Araf McIntyre. Oren Milgram Dorfman. Theo Morris. Jonathan Noor. Asfia Nubala. Chances Palmer. Miles Perez. Paul Camille Perronnet. Alessandro Piontelli. Abigail Guadalupe Kishpe Sanchez. Alison Kishpelema. Navia Rahman. Fahmi Rahman. Jeremy Rodriguez. Gabriel Romano. Gabriela Sofia Ronquillo. Adam Salama. Zoe Shim. Wyatt Sean. Olive Elizabeth Sonfrion. Zephyr Fulton Sosen. Ellie Stamer. Shirim Mazorine Stevenson. Zola Stevens. Maud Stevens. Fatima Surovi. Ronin Robert Swanson. Owen Michael Swift. Sachin Ravi Tanikela. Aisha Tasneem. Casper Thomas Yamashiro Thurfield. Zafna Unaisa. Leila Star Vasquez. Jarissa Vasquez. Aspen Velasquez. Samantha Wong. Zoe Weinreich. Jaylene Wen. Dinah Jolie Williams. Sydney Rodolfo Wilson. Marty Alison Wong. Anna Zhang. Asir Ziam. Kaden Zimkowski.
Let's hear it for the class of 2020. Going to repeat that little housekeeping thing when this is over. Faculty go out, students go out. We ask all parents to remain seated. No stampedes allowed. In the tradition of BHSEC Manhattan, we ask parents when you leave the front of the building to go up towards Houston Street and enter the schoolyard. That's where you'll meet faculty and graduates. If you were wondering what was happening up here with the socks, a couple of these young men, and I don't know how you did it, put my face on a sock. And I would ask you for them as a souvenir, but I don't know if I want them after this hot auditorium on a sweaty day. Congratulations to all of our award winners. And if your name was not called for an award, congratulations to you too. Every single one of you has done something special. You know, Dr. Hendricks catches me off guard, reminding me that I quoted Kendrick Lamar last year. Hopefully after today's graduation, you'll all be singing, "If This World Were Mine," right? Well, who got it? Who got it? You know, you've completed this four-year experience here, and I know that this moment is bittersweet for all of us. Myself included. My only regret today is that we only had one full year together. But I want to thank you for allowing me to experience your brilliance during this year. Some of you have been in my office discussing inquiry projects, meeting about student union, talking about the things you want out of your school experience. Some of you have been in my office because you didn't want to be. But we always ended those on a positive note, and I appreciate you for being friends to each other and for being friends to this school. As you go off into the world, I just leave you with a few pieces of advice. Be kind to yourself and to those around you. There is kindness in the world. You are not going off into an evil and rough place. There's kindness there. Be bold. Take personal and intellectual risks. You have to try and fail sometimes in order to get to the next stage. Be generous and accept generosity from others. Part of being generous is allowing others to be generous towards us. Step outside your comfort zone. Engage safely with people that you do not agree with. And while doing that, set guardrails, clear guardrails for yourself. If your engagement with others has the potential to hurt you or hurt someone else, change your approach and change those relationships. Listen to hear, not to respond. It's very easy to listen while thinking of what we're going to say next. But we can listen to internalize. Thank you. Be careful who you dance with. In some situations, while there may be some evil lurking around the corner, guess what? There's also beauty, and there's joy, and there's love. Please, I beg of you, look up from your cell phone as you move through the world. Do not be distracted by what is not in front of you but is performative and far away. Be attentive to the things you can reach out and hold. And most importantly, in all of the things that you take serious in life, take joy seriously. Make a commitment to joy. Graduates, please rise. By virtue of the authority vested in me by the State Board of Regents and the New York City Department of Education, and upon the successful completion of all required coursework, I am proud to confer upon you your Bard High School Early College Diploma. Congratulations to the class of 20